Time now for my review of Sea of Thieves Season 14, making mischiefs or making missteps or making mistakes. So as usual, we're going to go over the pros, cons, my verdict, and I want to know your thoughts, views, and opinions regarding Season 14 of Sea of Thieves. What you liked about it, what you didn't like about it, what you thought Rare could have done better. Feel free and let me know below in the comments section. So let's start off with the pros. We finally got crouching in Sea of Thieves after many years of asking and patiently waiting. Then it was taken out, and then it was re-added. We also got disguises, where you could disguise yourself as a barrel, more than just an emote, and also some chests. You can earn different chests to disguise yourself as and move them around. Those were taken out, and then those were re-added back in. But we got disguises to go with our crouching. We also got 2 new weapons, or tools, whatever you wish to call them. We got the grapple gun, the blowpipe, and I think a lot of players really enjoy the grapple gun and blowpipe to various degrees. So those are 2 pretty enjoyable new tools, weapons in the game. And they actually remained in the game since day 1. They were never taken out of the game. The blowpipe also includes some different ammo types. The lure, poison, explosive darts, and we have a mimic dart coming to the blowpipe sometime in December. So hopefully that will be a cool dart as well. Next is the Plunder Pass. I thought overall the cosmetics in the Plunder Pass were pretty good. I like the theme, the Fox Ninja theme of the Plunder Pass, and there's some really cool looking cosmetics like the katana, some of the outfits, and other stuff in there too. So overall, I like the look of the Plunder Pass. So it's definitely a pro in my opinion. The next pro is the traps and hanging off the edges of ships and some ledges. Finally added on November 18th, so that finally happened after nearly a month of patiently waiting for traps and the hanging ability. And as usual, we got the events that have occurred so far. We had the Ghoul and Glory around Halloween. We had some Twitch drops, and most recently, the Season 14 Community Weekend, which came up much faster than the previous few seasons, which leads us into the cons. Now, as already pointed out a few times, there were things that were supposed to be in the game day 1 that never made it into the game, and there were things that were added day 1 that were taken out and then re-added a few weeks later because the whole game was basically broke for nearly a month with numerous issues, bugs, and glitches. A couple examples include players being able to get into the vault by going underneath the Fort of the Damned, or a dupe glitch apparently for throwables. PC players can use this ladder cannon launch. And as already mentioned, a lot of the content that was supposed to be day 1 for Season 14 was not added day 1, or it was added, and then it had to be taken out again, and then eventually re-added to the game. And my final con revolves around the traps. Now, these are supposed to be traps. When you think of traps, you think of what bear traps, which is what they resemble. And the idea is it catches something, it traps something, or a person in this case. The damage is kind of weak, to be honest. Whenever I was testing them out in a previous video, I was expecting like the leg damage, the broken leg effect, to be about the same length as, the fall damage you get. But it lasted for like a second and then it went away. I honestly think that the traps, or at least the bare bones version of the traps without the fireworks or throwables added to it, should be buffed. So if you're just using the trap by itself, it should do a bit more damage. And it should actually trap a player in place for a limited time, just a few seconds. But the player has a way to counter it by being able to get themselves out of the trap, like reaching down and like mash butting until they pull themselves free of the trap. And once they pull themselves free of it, then the trap disappears. Now this is just for like the bare bones version of the trap. I think all the other variations you can try out with the throwables, the fireworks, etc. are fine because each one adds you an additional benefit when you're using a trap against another player, like the fireworks for alerting you, the bone callers for like an ambush, the drunk ball to make the player drunk, or the jig ball to make a player dance, or the firebomb sets the player on fire. So yeah, all of the variations of the trap, fine. But I think a regular version of the trap needs to be buffed just a bit. So those are my pros, my cons, and time now for my verdict. Even if there were no issues at all when it came to this season, and all the content was launched on day 1 without any problems whatsoever, and there was no dupe glitching, no being able to go underneath the vault and steal the loot for the damned, I still feel like Season 14 would have been underwhelming, especially in the shadow of the Burning Blade and Season 13. I think most of us were aware of the fact that this season was not going to be at the same level as Season 13. That's to be expected. But unfortunately, with all the problems and issues and how the game was basically almost broke for a month into the season, that is a huge negative in my opinion. It's unfortunate because overall 2024 has been a fairly good year for Sea of Thieves, except for going out this way, because at the beginning of the year Season 11 added fast travel, Season 12 added throwing knives, the double barrel pistol, the ability to walk on harpoon lines and use zip lines, and it also added PS5 players to Sea of Thieves, and some of us older players that left the game years ago on Xbox or PC came back because of the PS5 launch. And then, of course, Season 13 was huge with the Burning Blade, the Skelly Camps, and the return of Captain Flameheart. I realize that all seasons can't be like Season 13, I understand. But when it comes to Season 14, Rare was just making mistake after mistake after mistake. I'm glad that they finally got everything added into the game, and yeah, there are still a few issues out there that hopefully they're working on. Maybe by the December update to Season 14, things will be much better. Hopefully the Mimic Dart won't add additional issues or bugs or problems to the game. Now, going into 2025 for Sea of Thieves, obviously we have no idea what's coming. I think that they might do something at the end of the year where they give you kind of like a little tease like they did last year with what they had planned for 2024. And it'll be interesting to see what direction they're going to take the game going into the seasons for 2025. I hope that they do better than Season 14. I hope they have a chart, and at the bottom is Season 14, and their focus is to always do better than Season 14 going forward. But I would like to echo what Captain Falcor and others have been talking about in the Sea of Thieves community. I really think that Sea of Thieves needs to upgrade to Unreal Engine 5 because of the current limitations that they're having with, I believe, a version of Unreal Engine 4. So hopefully Rare is working behind the scenes to get Sea of Thieves moved over from Unreal Engine 4 to Unreal Engine 5. And if they do that, then that's going to open the door for them to do more expansions and add even more amazing content and seasons to Sea of Thieves, and hopefully keep the game sailing for many years to come. Your thoughts, views, and opinions regarding Season 14 of Sea of Thieves, welcome, as always, below in the comments section.